If you get the pump wrong in a pond, everything downstream becomes harder. Filtration struggles, water quality suffers, maintenance goes up. And suddenly the pond feels like work instead of something you enjoy. In this video, I'll walk you through the main types of pond pumps you'll come across. Submersible pumps, solid handling pumps, external pumps, air pumps, and cleanup pumps, and how I actually think about using each one in real-world pond builds. There is no single best pump. The right choice depends on how your pond's designed, how you're filtering it, and what kind of maintenance you're willing to live with. First, if you don't already know me, my name is Kev, and I help people design and maintain ponds without spending a fortune. If that sounds like your thing, feel free to subscribe and check out Ozponds.com. Most pump problems aren't because the pump is bad, they're because the pump doesn't match the pond design. For most of my ponds, I prefer DC variable speed sine wave pumps. The big advantages are they're really quiet, they're energy efficient, and the variable speed gives you a big margin for error. That variable speed part is huge. If your water flow isn't quite right, you can dial the pump up or down instead of needing a new pump. And when you run them at less than capacity, it saves on energy costs. Placement matters a lot. For best results, you want to put submersible pumps in skimmers or intake bays rather than directly on the pond floor. Skimmers and intake bays are designed in a way that keeps leaves and heavy debris away from the pump, and this reduces maintenance and improves reliability. You'll find if you just drop one of these pumps straight on the bottom of the pond, you'll be cleaning it constantly. Ask me how I know. However, sometimes you might actually want to pull water from the bottom of the pond. Maybe you've got heavy sediment settling on the bottom, or you want to keep the pond floor really clean, or you just don't want to rely purely on skimmers and surface flow. So solids handling pumps are designed to cope with dirty water and larger debris without clogging constantly. I see them as a practical DIY-friendly alternative to bottom drains. They're not perfect, proper bottom drains are still the gold standard in more serious systems, but solids handling pumps can work well if the rest of your system is designed to handle what they're pulling up. The key is what that dirty water is sent to. If you're pulling heavy waste off the bottom, your filter needs to be able to cope with it, and you need to design in easy access for cleaning and flushing. If you're building a pond for swimming, external pumps are often required, and in some places mandatory. You'll always want to check local regulations and safety requirements if building a pond where people are going to swim. So external pumps keep electricity out of the pond itself. They're usually less efficient than good DC submersible pumps. Another option is plumbing more energy efficient submersible pumps externally or using air pumps. Air-driven systems are quite interesting. They can be very energy efficient, they have no electricity in the water, and they have very few moving parts. So that's great for long-term reliability, but the downside is they're more complex to design and more time-consuming to set up. They're just less plug and play. But if you enjoy tinkering and building low-energy systems over the long run, air-driven systems can be awesome. But if you just want something simple and reliable, they're not always the easiest path. So lastly, we have cleanup pumps, and these aren't really pond pumps in the everyday sense. They're what you use when you want to drain a pond, empty a bog filter, or move really dirty water during a clean out. They're not efficient, and that's fine, because you're not running them 24/7. They're built to handle sludge, sediment, and debris when nothing else will. It's one of those tools you don't use often, but when you need it, you're very glad that you own one. Solar pumps are something that everyone asks about. There's lots of solar options for small ponds, but the truth is, unless you connect batteries, they aren't very good at running an entire pond. I do have a small solar pond and stream with battery backup, but the truth is it's more expensive to set up than if you have regular power. However, I do use solar pumps to create additional flow in some of my ponds, just not to run the main filtration systems. Every pond I build follows the same basic principles, and that's the system I've put together in my pond formulas blueprint. It's not about copying my ponds, it's about understanding the thinking behind it so you can apply the same logic to your own setup. Head height is also something you got to consider when selecting a pump. The higher the water needs to be pumped, or the distance it needs to be pumped, that's going to create pressure on the pump, and we call this head. All pumps will show you how the flow rate decreases as the head height increases, so select something that meets your needs. So when you're choosing a pump, don't ask what's the best pump, ask where's the water being pulled from, what kind of waste is it carrying, what filter is it being sent to, and how much maintenance do I actually want to live with. You can then choose the pump that fits the system, not the other way around. And I've put links to these different pumps on the Ozponds website if you're interested. And if you want the full system I use, the planning process, sizing, how all the pieces work together, that's what the Pond Formulas blueprint is for. You can check it out at ozponds.com if you're curious. And if you want to see a video showing how you connect the pump to your filter system, you might like to watch the video that pops up on your screen next. I hope this video and the resources on the website are helpful. Thanks for watching. See ya.